Hello everyone, Sergio here. How are you? Today we're going to have our little webinar on fluency activities. Um, this has been a series of webinars that we have done for the past month now, and we're going to be talking about individual aspects that are useful to know and speakable. Forgive the light; it's very sunny in here, and we're going to focus today on fluency exercises. So last week we were talking about specifically comprehension. Today we're going to focus on, let's say, the another aspect of language acquisition, which is fluency, right? So the vast majority of what we do, let's face it, it's focused towards making sure that the students are using the right conjugation, the right word order, correct combination of words, right pronouns and articles in some languages. And that's, of course, super important, and Speakable will do that just fine, right? Actually, Speakable, you might argue that Speakable is hinged towards helping students improve in those specific aspects of their language process. But what about fluency, right? Fluency requires probably a more loose approach to language. So we're going to focus today on how to do this, like how to tailor Speakable so that fluency exercises are the priority, right? So let's get this started. Okay, let me start sharing my screen. Is this the right one? Yes. Okay. So let me change the layout here so that we can see it bigger. Okay. So this is my home button, and like with many of the other webinars, we're going to focus today on the activity creator, right? So we're going to start by creating an activity here. Let's start from scratch. And we're going to start from scratch today for several reasons, but we're going to talk about the other options as well, the AI, create with AI as well. Anyway, so let's give this activity a title. So fluency exercises. And you can give it a description, September 23rd, which is today. And then you can give it a cover. So I'm going to say microphone. I don't know, just the first word I thought would relate to fluency. So I'm going to add my microphone here. And let's begin by focusing on fluency. So if you haven't used Speakable before, there are three main student actions: multiple choice, which of course is a test, right? A multiple choice question, and you have the options. You could have one or multiple correct answers. The repeat card will allow your students to repeat something. So let's begin with this because this does have a role in fluency. So even though this is more hinged towards accuracy, the idea is that you write something in here. For example, I don't know, the lion is the king of the jungle, right? And the students will be able to listen to it.
The lion is the king of the jungle.
Or, well, they can change the voice. Let's change the voice. Let's have it be Sally. Let's listen to this again.
The lion is the king of the jungle.
I prefer this voice. So the students will hear this and then they can play it. If you see unverified, that just means that no one has used it before, but it will work. Let's just verify it so that we can get rid of this unverified. The lion is the king of the jungle. Okay, cool. So now if we click on this, yeah, it's verified now. So of course, when we talk about fluency, one of the aspects that is important is confidence, right? And this will help your students build the confidence needed. So if you are helping them, come up with ways to improve their pronunciation, the ways they are using the different, for example, word order or something. You want them like repetition is as we say in music, repetition legitimizes, right? So this is one good way you can have to help your students focus on fluency. However, again, this is mostly for accuracy. So still, even though this helps build confidence, this is not the central thing of today's webinar. For the central aspect of today's webinar, we're going to focus on the response card. So the response card is going to be where your students, openly answer questions. So it could be like, what animal is considered to be the king of the jungle? All right, so let's use that. And you know what? Let's add some media for this. Why not? Lion. And I'm going to add this cool picture of lion. Okay. And the students will be able to respond to this question. The more complex the prompt, the more complex the answer is going to be, right? So let's test it now. The lion is considered to be the king of the jungle. All right, let's say the answer. But still, it's going to focus on mistakes, right? So in this case, my answer was correct. So your response is clear and directly answers the teacher's prompt. Additionally, it effectively conveys the information without any ambiguity. Great job, keep up the good work. Okay, cool. What happens if the student is not doing things, perfectly? Let's test it out. The lion is the king of. Wait, I didn't even know what mistake to add. The jungle king is the lion. All right, let's see if that answer is picked up. Like, okay, weird word order, and if it's let's say deemed unacceptable. So in the last screen, I got a good job. In this case, let's see if my mistakes are. Oh, I didn't say that. If my mistakes are enough for this not to be. Okay, it was still the Jungle King is the lion. Take a look at this. You directly addressing the teacher's prompt. Keep up the good work. Just remember to make sure your sentences structure clearly in future responses. So even though there were some mistakes here and there, it wasn't big enough for this to be deemed, a try again screen. Let's add more stuff to this. For example, like I'm going to ask another question about the lion. This time I'm going to include the AI context. So what is the animal in this picture, right? And this time I'm going to add the AI context so that Speakable knows what the picture is about, and then it knows what the picture in the prompt is referring to. So if you haven't used this before, you can attach any kind of context, for example, a podcast, a video, images, text blocks, text-to-speech, audio files, and then you can ask questions about it. So Speakable will understand what is in the media, and it will have like something to compare the students' answer against. So as you can see, Speakable knows that this is an image that features a majestic lion resting on a field of tall golden grass. The lion is depicted in profile, showcasing his, whatever, right? So lots of detail. So if you want to go super in detail, Speakable will know. But I'm going to be wrong. Let's see what happens here. The animal in the picture is an elephant. Let's see what the AI thinks about my answer. And of course, it was incorrect, right? So what if you want if you want the AI to focus more on fluency but not on accuracy? What if you want to be forgiving with mistakes, right? So there are some ways you can do it. So the most important thing is that it's relevant for the prompt with a prompt, but still, if you take a look at the definition of what is a response that requires more work, or what is a response that hits the nail on the head, and then this is it. So if the student's response is clear and concise and answers the teacher's prompt, and grammar errors are insufficient to detract from the overall meaning of the response, then this will be given a pass. If it doesn't meet this, then it's going to be a fail. But again, if you're trying to make your students more confident and don't lose sleep, let's say, over the mistakes that people might find in their answers, then you can define it, right? So this is something that's available for all Teacher Pro users. You can simply change the pass-fail criteria, and now even if I make grammar mistakes, um, the answer, if it's clear and concise and answers the teacher's prompt, is going to be acceptable. So let's test it out. I'm going to throw in some mistakes, but these mistakes are not going to be enough to be deemed a failing response. So the animal in the picture, the lion is. All right, so word order. This would not be acceptable, like this big mistake would not be acceptable in normal circumstances. But again, if I want my students to focus on the fluency, then I might just tweak this. And one of the ways to tweak this is here. Another one to do it is using rubric-based grading, right? So rubric-based grading will allow you to zoom in all the different aspects that comprise a student's answer or student's grade, and control each one of those. So I just clicked on it to see what it is and to edit it. And take a look at this. This is the Speakable Standard World Language rubric. And this is one rubric that evaluates three different fields: grammar, relevance, and completeness. And it has a total of 3 levels for each criteria. So there is a maximum of 2 points for advanced for each one of them. However, you can still tweak this even further. So what if, for example, I want this to be I want it to be another level. So I'm going to label it master, and I'm going to say the student's answer contains, oh my God, why didn't answer contains no mistakes whatsoever, right? That is a new level that I just assigned to this level, right? To this criteria, sorry. But I can do the opposite. So what if I want to focus on fluency? That's the whole idea of this webinar. So I can simply remove the grammar component, right? And now only relevance and completeness are going to be taken into account. That way, I can assign an activity and let my students, let's say, know that the mistakes will not be a problem, or they will not detract uh, from their score, I'm going to say, because we're focusing on fluency. And that way you can remove, let's say, a potential uh, confidence breaking correction to be made, right? So you can do this with the one that I have here, which is the standard one, but I can go into the library to find other rubrics that might help. For example, this Speakable Prompt Evaluation rubric, which will evaluate understanding, clarity, depth, evidence, right? So this is one of those rubrics that is more catered to fluency and a deeper focus on oral communication. But for example, I have created other rubrics like, let me look for one. Fluency. Take a look at this. This is one rubric that I created that is based off the normal one, but I labeled it Fluency because I know that this is one I'm going to use a lot. And it's focused on forgiving grammar in favor of a deeper look at relevance and completeness in the student's answer. So that's one way you can do it. In order to create the rubric, you can go here, create new rubric, and tell the AI what you want. So for example, I need a rubric that will help my students practice making or delivering presentations. Evaluate fluency, um, clarity, and what else? Completeness in the answer. So I can tell the AI I want this, and now the AI will think about it and generate it. You can still tweak it, like you can add levels, you can add criteria, remove levels, remove criteria. In this case, fluency, clarity, and completeness. These were the 3 fields. But what if, for example, I don't want just 3 fields? I can tell the AI creator, now create the same rubric, but with 5 level subdivisions per criteria instead of 3. And I can update. It will do these tweaks for me, or I can do this myself manually, like we did before, by adding criteria or adding the score, removing the score. So you can do this manually or with the AI, like I did here. So presentation delivery rubric. These I'm happy with this, and you can take a look at each of the ways this is going to be evaluated. So now it's a total of 12 points instead of the 6 that we had before. I like this rubric. I'm going to use it, and I'm going to apply it to this card. However, I'm going to change the prompt as well, because this rubric is probably too advanced for this simple prompt. So I'm going to still stick to the lion theme here, and I'm going to ask, like, why do you think that the lion is considered to be the king of the jungle? Um, okay, and now I can show you what this would do. Now, one thing worth noting is that you can change the response time of the answers. By default, this is 30 seconds, but what if you want to extend it? Well, in this case, maybe this is going to be a longer answer, so I'm just going to move it to 3 minutes here. And the 3 minutes is going to be fine for this, actually more than fine. But what if you want to do the opposite? So this is a good moment to emphasize that you might also want to reduce it, right? So what if you detect that your students are speaking too slowly and you want them to speak faster, right? You could ask them something simple, but instead of using the default 30 seconds, you can reduce it to 10, right? So 10 seconds is the minimum time. So if you want to that your students focus on fluency, you can ask them a question, but let them know that they have 10 seconds to answer so that they speed up, right? So that's one way to develop some speed, some speed into the speech. So this is one thing you could control. I'm going to show you some of the metrics later that will help you identify if your students need this kind of approach or not. So I'm going to extend it to 3 minutes here, and yeah, let's just use this card as it is. So I'm going to do my best to answer this. So the lion is considered the king of the jungle because of its impressive girth and power. It is a very top predator, and all other herbivores in the African savanna fear the lion. Now, there's a misnomer probably when it comes to the jungle, because of course the lion doesn't live in the jungle. It lives in the savannas in Africa, so really far away from jungles, actually. But the word jungle is a good way to exemplify all the natural world. So you can say that the king of the jungle is really the king of the animal world, right? So I think it's a good example here. Okay, so I stuttered, I wasn't super clear, but let's see what it thinks of my answer. And again, in the rubric, specific rubric that we have just created for this type of thing. Of course, this is probably not the best presentation, so I will not get a very good score, and it shows. So even though my fluency was very high, my clarity and completeness was not. Ah, but you know what? I think there was it didn't catch it. I need to do this again. Let me try again. But so try again. The lion is considered to be the king of a jungle because it is, you know what? Let me double check. No, try again. But let me double check that the rubric is indeed created properly. Okay, presentation covers the required content, evaluates include students, awards, and ideas. Okay, so yeah, let me just tweak this rubric so that I can show you. Okay, cool. Now I'll do the same thing now. The lion is considered to be the king of the jungle because it is very big and powerful. All the other animals fear the lion, and thus it's considered to be the king. However, the jungle is probably a misnomer because the lion doesn't really live in the jungle. It lives in the African savanna, which is far away from the jungle. But still, the word jungle is a good way to exemplify the rest of the natural world. So even though it's not the king of the jungle, literally, it's the king of the animal world. All right, let's see if this answer is picked up by the rubric. I think we made I made a mistake in the creation of it, or the assignment rather, of the rubric. So let me show you what it. Oh, there you go. This is more like it. So I was clearer, and however, to be it's considered. Okay, yeah, I didn't abbreviate this. Anyway, so this is like one way you could evaluate if a student's fluency is there or not, right? So rubrics will help you zoom in into specific aspects of a student's answer or speech patterns so that you can identify it. So let's talk about how to identify them. So, okay, once I am ready and I have added all the aspects I needed to add to my answer, I can assign it. I can assign this exercise to my classroom. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to assign it to multi-language classroom, and I'm going to schedule that assignment, create assignment. Okay. Now, once you have your assignment and your students have done it, you can send them the link, or you can add them to a classroom and they will be there. Let me go to the classrooms, and let me go to Español 3. Well, actually, no. Let me go to multi-language classroom. There it is. This is the exercise that we just created. But of course, I just created it. I haven't sent it to my students, so there's nothing here. So I'm going to go to a classroom where I have some other assignments that have been created. And for example, let's take a look at what my students did in this Spanish assignment. So I can see how all students have done in this one. I can click on um, a specific student, and in the respond cards, which are the ones that we have been focusing on today, you can click on one and see what the student said, what the feedback was, and other metrics that were not shown to the students. Like for example, this duration, 17 seconds, and of course I can hear it. Words per minute, 47 words per minute. Total words spoken, 14. So this is one way that even though this student's score was good, it correctly addressed the prompt and it was done so correctly, even though there was a mistake here. It was considered to be okay. You can see that the words per minute are very low, and the answer is not what I expected for this particular student. So let's see what other students are doing. So I'm going to go with Santiago. Santiago is probably more fluent. And let's see, yes, 137 words per minute, longer duration here, and total words spoken 61. So even though both students received a passing score because the both answers were correct and they addressed the prompt the way they should have. mm, One of them was simply longer and more fluent, right? So always check your students' answers because I mean, on top of the score, on top of the feedback, on top of the corrections, you will also get these metrics of duration, words per minute, and total words spoken that are very useful in getting a complete idea of what the fluency of this particular student is, and then you can tailor future speakable activities for those students corresponding. So corresponding to that data. For example, you can, as I said before, you can reduce the time that the students are given to answer a question, or you can do the opposite. Let them know that they have all the time in the world to make sure that they get their point across. You can remove grammar as part of the equation when it comes to giving them the score. You can change the type of prompt that you add so that they are forced to answer with longer sentences. For example, instead of like, what animal is this? And it's, well, oh, it's a lion, right? But what is this animal and what is its role in nature? Okay, it's a lion and it's a predator, so it controls the population of her. If you want your students to speak longer sentences, then this would be a good way to understand when to do it. Another thing you can do to see this is go into the analytics. So some of the analytics are here, and you can see that in this classroom as a whole, 233 words have been spoken. That I have just added a couple of assignments that all students have done, with a success rate of 88.9%, average phrase length of 7.3. Now, these are some of the many metrics we will have. We're going to be adding more analytics to this panel here. But remember that you can also look at this from a global perspective in the entire classroom, or click on a specific classroom and see those metrics for that student. Not only the assignment, but for in general the student as a whole. So I can see that this student has spoken 120 words, 83% success rate, average phrase length 4. So I can see already from this point here that I need to be probably more strict with the how long answers are, because I can see that this student is getting away with very short answers. Let me go to another classroom to show you this. And I'm going to click on Angelica. And I can see that Angelica she hasn't done any. I thought she had. Let me see if there are other analytics available. Oh, there you go. So this is another example. So this is clearly a student who's speaking a lot more than the other student. However, his success rate is lower than the other one. But take a look at this. Both are getting away with short answers. So I can do this with all my students to get an idea of where they are, what they need to improve on and what their strengths are. So there you go. That's another way you can focus on fluency here. So yeah, this is what I wanted to mention to you. You can change the I guess the way Speakable addresses a student's answer. You can change the rubrics. You can create your own rubrics, and you can use the post assignment metrics like words per minute, success rate, total length, and number of words used in a response to gauge if your students are quick enough or slow enough. And remember, you can always hear the answer yourself. So like aside from all the objective metrics like how many words and all of that, you can click on the response, and you can also have a good way of knowing how your students are improving over time, since you can do this with every single assignment. So there you have it. This is one way we have to focus on fluency for during Speakable activities. So yes, we have some viewers on YouTube, StreamYard, Twitter. Let me know if you have any questions. We're going to be running more webinars. This week, we're going to have only this one and one tomorrow. Tomorrow is going to be about the AI builder. So we're going to focus a lot on how to create the activities, automating the creation process. So if you are curious, please visit our website. We have the links there. You'll also see a banner in the top part of our app site to register for these. So feel free to join these webinars tomorrow. Now, we're going to have more webinars the next week. This week is only going to be 2, today and tomorrow, because I'm going to have to travel, so I'm not going to be available for during this time like the rest of the week. So we're going to resume our webinar schedule for next week, and that's where we're going to end. So also remember, if you let's say have already known about Speakable and you're curious, you can always have a pilot, right? So if you want a school pilot to see if this is a tool for you, not just for you as a teacher, but for you as a school or a school district, then let us know. We can get something set up for you, and you can test this for a month, see if this works, if this is the right tool, if all the features are to your liking, and we can arrange this. So yes, let me know. I see no questions in the comment sections. So I'm going to stop there. Thank you very much for attending this webinar. I hope you have a great rest of the day, and see you tomorrow in the AI Creator seminar or webinar at the same time, 4:30 p.m. Central Time. So see you tomorrow. Thank you very much for attending. Goodbye.